they just internally were gonna get growth. So it didn't happen over the past 7 years. So we're down. So we're gonna have a lot of meetings, trying to get
This time every year. Yeah.
I had a smile on my face. When I came in, there was no one.
Oh, okay.
We have struggling to get, we have a district chair.
Years, yeah, well, starting to combat. No,
One person was 20 years ago. So now we have.
Charles, the Wi-Fi is down here. Their IT's working on it now.
Okay. She said as soon as they get it, I asked her to send somebody in here. To let us
I
know,
don't
so.
know.
We can't do anything for them. We can't tell them who to get and how to get into business. We're trying to help them.
Marvin, yes, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, my wife Linda.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Well,
So who's our speaker?
about 3 more months. You are
Barbara Jones. Is Barbara Jones here somewhere? Purple over there, sitting down at the table. She's around behind you. Okay. And she gave you this drive? Yes.
Yes.
Is that going to be the one that's called USB Drive D
She
presumably?
didn't tell me anything about what it was, but I assume so. I did that. I don't know if she's got more programs on it than just the one. I don't know.
So I need to have a password.
I'll acknowledge.
They make me a trip every day.
So it wants something like, you know,
Okay.
I can't be there all the time. No, we should.
Oh, did I not do? Oh, there it is.
The lower level realize that it's a living. The upper level professionals. They're talking.
This is gonna be the second part. First, I'm gonna talk about triple M and then I'm gonna talk about.
When you're a disaster.
okay. And what you have a PowerPoint to talk about?
No,
The other one?
no, just Freedom House.
Okay, so
Chicken and-
I was gonna put that down on, I was
Okay.
gonna put this down on here and then give you the thumb drive. Is that okay?
Oh, whatever you need.
We have so many.
Whatever you need to do.
Because I don't know what happens if
So we're looking at.
if I unplug this thumb drive, I'd just like to give it back to you, so
Yeah.
Starting a lot earlier.
finish that off.
Oh, we're not supposed to be starting this tonight. We started. What's happening is COVID and tough stuff with the troops about it, but now the troops have to get in the clubs because they're not there. So it's still gonna get close.
Well,
We need the troops.
I'll mention that.
Now we have to start getting really smart. They like to get everybody up to the right stuff, right? So it's a great environment.
Now,
We're talking about.
Going back.
volunteers. People are not willing to volunteer.
I'll take a chair.
Right.
Yeah, right there. Right there. Sure. That's kind of. So right there.
Like Jack.
You're up. And then they had a group production. Oh, what? That's it.
See?
This is the name of this. Yeah, this is really interesting. It's strange.
I need your picture. Oh, yeah. I didn't write down which picture I needed. So I'm trying to do articles about it.
Yeah. He's been up there once. He's gonna come up there.
Carl, how's it going today?
Well, maybe
All right, no, nothing's working.
What he's doing.
The big issue, I'm trying to work around the fact that I don't have any internet in this room. Right now, I'm working off of this phone. To get the internet turned on, then I'm going to go over the.
You have 5G though, so that should work.
Okay, so you think I ought to just do the whole meeting on this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm kind of coming through.
5G is great. Faster than they have.
Okay. So, the point is if we disconnect from my phone, then I'm not, I have all this stuff set up already. I don't know if I have to restart the meeting.
If what?
Restart this, huh?
If what?
If I try to go off of the building,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I just leave it on your phone.
if we leave it on the phone, then everything will work.
Yeah.
Try to go off the building, then I have, maybe I have to
You have to
restart
restart.
soon.
You do, yeah. That's why I just started it up, start recording.
Okay, so I'm just starting.
Just leave your phone here, don't touch it, put it on silent. Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to reground myself and what was.
Yeah. It's good though. The camera, you might be blocking it though with the laptop.
Good.
My friend Jeff.
He's got two names on his. He's got first name last.
See, I'm staying with his brother.
And.
How are you?
Oh, you are?
How do you like Flower Mound?
What's that little black thing that we got?
Nice area. No, that was part of an experimental.
Jeff, it goes here.
Yeah.
Not in my pocket, in your pocket. Hey, Mark. Grandpa. Grandpa swears.
How you doing?
Fun run pictures up.
Hey, Mark, Ray today. We're from London. He lives here in Sugarland.
This isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work until it's plugged in. It's not gonna work until I plug it in.
Jack.
You doing, buddy? Hey, buddy. Wait for that February free.
45.
This one you take over the.
Hey, Mary.
That's what
Okay.
We do this every year. Oh.
Glad to hear.
Some people are there.
I know, that's big with me. My husband's always, me too, I am not a cook, I don't. It, to me, it was.
Hey, I was thinking about sitting here.
I know.
Carl, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
I
you.
don't understand what's wrong with this thing.
You don't? It's
It's supposed to loop and the loop is checked. It doesn't seem to be looping.
oh, that is the replay from the, when I saw you with, I can barely see your face. Where you had,
No, I wouldn't. That was somebody else.
you were wearing warm gear.
Mr. Dean, how, whoops, we do the right
I
hand.
want this.
Smash each other.
Good to see you.
Hey, I want to tell you something. Your display you have up there. I'm here on behalf of SPI, PCD. That photo you used for Town Square is illegal, and I gotta have $1,000 payment for you to use that picture.
You need to be talking to management. We don't have
Let me
any.
tell you something. What's it called? You want to keep those trademark?
Yeah.
Okay, trademark. I'm just, Carl, this message is Wayne. I got it. Hey, look it up.
You let him out this many times?
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm trying to get.
Give it like 5% marker spot. You got the big front. Every time I see him, it's a big marker. So I started getting late, so I was.
Well, I raised. Tommy.
I see him like once in a while.
Now I'm legitimate. Now I can shake your hand. Did you have to sign a memo or something? Probably.
I live in Tulane. So, yeah, it's just like this. You're gonna like this. I have a gentleman right here. He is white.
Testing one. Welcome to Sugarland Rotary. This is Wednesday at 8 minutes after 12. It must be Rotary time. Thank you for being here. We've got a great program and we've got a great group of visitors that I know you'll be anxious to meet. We're going to begin with our very own Tracy Walker offering the invocation. Tracy?
May we please all stand? Dear Lord, thank you so much for this beautiful, amazing day. Thank you for everyone here that was able to come to serve together and to believe in the greater power of the Lord. We have special prayers over David Shaw as he is transitioning. We know that you'll be there to open arms for David. We just want to thank you for that. We just want to bless everyone here, our families, our friends, and let your light shine in us. But when people see us, they see they will return again. Because we are filled with God's love. Amen.
Amen. Just beautiful. Thank you. And now, past President, Dr. Steve Harris.
Pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated and make it a point to get acquainted with those at your table. And we're moving straight. Glenn is you're the sunshine and showers man. Oh, and a big bowl. It's a big day. You know the kind of crowd you've got. We celebrate sunshine and showers every week. This is your opportunity with the payment of a small amount of money, 5, a 10, a 20, just something small. We want you to celebrate with us a bit of cheer or a bit of sadness in your life, and let your light shine. And even if it's sharing something that's troubling, please share that with us as well. So we've got a full-time authorized fundraiser to act as your host.
Well, thank you very much. Mark, there you go. Thank you very much. Just a couple bucks. Had a great time running at our 5K, which was a successful run. We had over 250 people and really lots of posts over Facebook. We had, I think, over 5,000 people engaged with our Facebook page and our registration page. I think 60 people registered just from Facebook and all that. So yeah, we were really, it's great exposure for our club and for Rotary in the community. Thanks to Todd for setting that up, and Heidi and all the people that helped do all that. And thank you, Casey, for being my what did I call it? You were just great because I could follow you. That was great. So it was a great place you run that. Yeah, so thanks everyone for doing that. That was a great fundraising.
This is a shower and a sunshine. The shower is we're going to miss David Shaw. The sunshine is he's going to be in a much better place. But we visited him yesterday, and he's in end stage. He's not breathing completely. He looks like he's already gone. But we sang Amazing Grace to him, said some nice words to him. Color came back in his face while we were there. And so anyway, the sunshine is he had a life that was well lived.
Anybody else for sunshine today?
I'm putting in $1 because I'm excited about our speaker today, to hear Barbara. Barbara and I served on the T.W. Davis Y board. She was the chair of the board, and I was on her board, and then I followed her as chair. So she is not only a smart woman, but she's funny as all get out, and I'm just excited to see her and have her here. Thank you for being here, Barbara.
Just wanted to throw in $1 out of gratitude. I wasn't actually supposed to be here today. I was supposed to be on a plane coming back from LA, but I got done early and flew back really late last night and managed to get a nap, and just grateful to be here, grateful to be anywhere, frankly, but good to see all of you.
Anyone else today for sunshine trip?
Sunshine and a shower. My sunshine is, we had our first auction item, which we fixed, and it is a great one, and it is from a former member, Russell Bird. And it is 7 days and 7 nights in a golf resort outside of Tulum. It is Riviera Paya, P-A-Y-A, it's a master plan golf course resort. So now my shower is, that's the only option I have. So I'm gonna get with each one of you. I'll get an auction item from each member, at least one. I'll take more, but one. A big one like this or a small one, I don't know, round of golf or dinner or something, just anything we put in our auction, and we will make some money. Thank you.
So, Coleman wasn't here last week. Somebody outbid him on and I think it was because it wasn't big enough.
Indeed.
Twice or 3 times that we finished. No, and so you hear the offer, and it was always a man, you know, like that. Thank you.
Right next there, next to the guy with the hat.
I have sunshine today. And I just want to say that my sunshine is, it goes to my family, to my staff, that we survived Valentine's Day.
So,
I had to wait for a dollar so I could put all my coins in there. First off, yes, Mark, I actually was told by 3 other people I was a pacer. So I have a, not a jog, not a walk, it's called a walk. A walk. A walk. Between a walk and a jog, that way people can keep up with me. And I just want to thank the Lord for it not being freezing like it was last year. And I never stopped, but because I had David Shaw in my heart. Thank you, Dee, for sending that email on Friday. Within an hour and a half, I got to go see David, and I got to see him when he was still smiling and laughing. And I got to say goodbye and ask him to put a good word in for me upstairs. That was all, personal. The second is, thank you for those who've asked me about my scans. The little burgers keep growing, but my faith is growing even stronger. So it doesn't matter what they say, it matters what God says.
That's right, amen.
So this too is for David Shaw. David Shaw got me into the prison ministries at Darrington years ago. That's established a Baptist theological ministry inside Darrington, and we got to tour it and everything. And one of the guards on my way out gave me a daily devotional written by 3 lifers. And to this day, it was the best devotional I've ever read. And if you haven't seen it and if anybody's interested, I have copies I give away because it's just one of those things. So I always thank David Shaw for giving me that gift of that ministry.
Thank you.
do we have anyone else for today?
Thank you. Coleman, thank you. Great job. We're going to recognize our guests, and I want to call special attention to Ray and Linda King, who come to us from the Cross Timbers Rotary Club. That's in Flower Mound. Thank you for being with us. And I must say that we have already honored Ray with a flag from our club for him to take back. And he's going to be sharing the same thing with us that we'll be adding to our list, to our club flag collection. So we look forward to that.
I gotta tell you, embarrassing and funny at the same time. I called Marvin either last week or the week before and told him I was going to be coming down here. We've got 45 of our club Rotarians cruising out of Galveston tomorrow. And so I made it a point of calling Marvin and saying, I'm coming down to the district club and I want to exchange flags with you. And I walked out of the house and got ours. So I promise I will send it to you.
You know, when he called, he also shared something else, and that is a real tribute to one of our members. It seems that Ray and Linda once lived in Katy, and for a long time. And when they lived there, there was a teacher that touched their lives in a big way, who is today a principal, pardon me, in Katy, that touched their lives in a big way, and that principal is today the superintendent of the Fort Bend ISD. Joy just to hear from someone else what a great job that Christy has done. And I'm saying that because she's knee deep in moving a lot of mountains right now, but we're with you all the way. And Ray, Linda, it's great to have you. And next to them, Wayne Bomeyer. Wayne has been speaker to this club. Within 4 or 5 years ago, he spoke. He takes on a real challenge, not just doing disaster relief, but he also has a close friendship with Dean Carpenter. Shows you the kind of a risk taker he is. It's great to have you with us as well. And then let's see, we have some other folks too. Sally Kubiak is back. Sally, thank you, and good to have you here. Anything you'd like to say?
So on March 31st, we have Reading Between the Lines. And Dominique Saxa is our featured author. She's written a book called Life Makeover. And she will be with us. And we have restaurant stroll and silent auction and live auction and dessert auction. So anybody would like to have you join us. March 31st, Safari, Texas.
Okay. You remember that she is the interim executive director of the Literacy Council of Fort Bend. No small assignment, and something that we're grateful that you come to our meetings, and we're going to keep you busy after your interim assignment there. Jeff Dodson, our guest. Jeff, pleasure to have you, and anything you'd like to say to our group.
So I'm sort of a guest of Ray as well. I'm one of the probably only ones that don't have the benefit of being able to cruise the rest of the week. So I knew Ray and Linda from Katy days, and I'm currently a board member of the Exchange Fund of Sugarland. I was just here this morning for breakfast. Many of you know, with personal participation, we've got our spaghetti dinner coming up. We're going to be looking forward to your support with that coming soon. So thank you.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, we think a lot of your club, and we appreciate your joining us. Another guest of Mary Fabre is Barbara Jones.
Oh,
You want to do that as part of the speaker? Okay. Well, they made us a card. That also must be. That was a prop. We look forward to your presentation. Thank you. And then finally, Lizu. Thank you for being with us as a guest, but you're soon to become a member. Okay, and we look forward to that. But thank you for joining us today as a guest, and we'll look forward to inducting you in as a full member of our club next week. How about that? Thank you.
I walk over, introduce myself to them and say hello and welcome. Oh, I remember, I put a pie in the face. That's your reason. It's my fundraiser too. I know.
get to eat for a few minutes.
Now, we're going to take a few moments to address our lunch. And we're also going to then call on Mary Fabre to introduce our speaker. Very important message and one that's of significance and of high interest as well. So we'll look forward to that. And so the next time you hear from anybody with this microphone, it will be Mary Fabre.
Fun run too.
If we put these over here.
The camera can, the Zoom camera.
Okay, I messed you up.
No, that's all right. It's just happened last week and somebody told me afterwards.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Hey, that works out. Everybody's in the
Hello. Just joking. The next time you'll hear someone is right now from me. Okay, she's in the room, so we're gonna honor her today. She wasn't here last week, so those of you that heard her little blurb, you get to hear it again. But Pat Hauk is our Rotarian of the Month. All right, so what you want to give a speech? That's the mic's all yours. Okay, so this is what I said last week, Pat. All right, so when asked for business advice, she replied, never let anyone tell you your value and always surround yourself with successful people. This month's Rotarian of the Month is sweet, kind, and gentle-spirited. But don't let these descriptors fool you. She's also a powerhouse. In 2007, she started her own business out of just a little kiosk. Fast forward in time, and her business can be found in the center of Sugar Land Town Square. Her entire family invests in her vision and mission, and she spreads joy one flower arrangement at a time. And in our own club, one how are you doing or a phone call at a time as our member care person. And this month we honor the lovely Miss Pat Hudson. Okay, now you can eat. Let me take my mask off. know you're enjoying your lunch, but I need to make a quick announcement if I can get your attention. Hello. So we have our district raffle tickets that I have been handing out slowly to everyone. If I'm not giving you yours, come see me. I'll make sure that you get your packet. This year, the drawing will be for our prize that is a 4-night vacation at Coastal Cozumel Beach Villa. It's a 3-bedroom, it sleeps 6, and airfare is included. So the tickets that I've given you, they are $25 each, or there are 5 for $100. You can sell these to whomever, or you can buy them for yourself. If you want to charge them to your account, let me know. On the ticket, it tells you who to make the check out to. Make sure you give me the check so I can turn all this in. I need these turned in to me by April the 15th. And the drawing will be held at the district conference on April the 29th. So if there's anything, if you have any questions or you don't have your tickets, just get with me and I'll make sure we get everything all cleared up. Thank you, guys.
You may need to write the errors included because it's not on the ticket.
Write the what?
Errors included.
Oh, yeah, it says it on my paper.
That's not.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a statement. When we do these, sometimes sugar and Rotarians do pretty well. Is that like we had 2 members of our club actually.
What are the names?
Carl and then actually Linda.
That's why.
Hey, I just want to make a, oh. I just want to make a short announcement. I'm also not married. We have our sign-up sheets for Shrimp Fest over here. If you want to go ahead and get that done now instead of after the meeting. They're right there next to tab. So please sign up for a committee and we need your help.
I would say.
Having technical difficulties.
Testing, testing. I'm up here helping Mary learn how to turn on a microphone. Mary, it's on now.
Could I get y'all's attention for a moment? Todd could not be here today, but he wanted to convey a few messages about the fun run. And the 3 stories that he selected, I got to meet the participants too, but he wanted me to share these with you because it's very, it's moving how a fun run can really bring the community together. So let's listen up. This year's race was super special for me. Special in a way that I know we are creating an annual event that people can't hardly wait to participate each year. This year's 5K race was the most successful in so many ways. We were able to gather the community back together again in person, the stories that were told, the money that was raised for Parks Youth Ranch, which is our emergency shelter for homeless teenagers in Fort Bend County. But the day, Todd, waiting, this is where I want you to all hear. During the packet pickup, there was a participant running the 5K race because it was the first time she could run in a long time. 6 months prior to this, she had a heart transplant. This lady was not more than 30 years old, I don't think. But she liked it. She wanted to run it because she loved the title of the race, Running with a Heart. And that was on the t-shirt, Running with a Heart. And she showed me her t-shirt. She opened it up and she had written the word New Heart. And so we wanted to move her to the front of the line and let her start, So we have some good pictures of her. So y'all might want to check those pictures out. She had a great attitude. The other thing was the Monday following the race. Oh, by the way, I'm going to make a donation. Next year, we're going to have hand warmers, okay? The Monday following the race, Todd learned of a daughter and father that ran and walked the 5K. Her dad, 81 years old, had a heart bypass surgery 6 months prior, and he wanted to do this, and this was his first ever 5K. He is a Rotarian in the Champions Rotary Club. He wore his hat and his smile the entire time. And then there was a mother and her young son who have run for the last 3 years. They did a video testimonial of what it means to run as a family and to share that experience and support a very important charity. The number of people that donated used shoes was overwhelming. Over 40 pairs were donated for the homeless while supporting the Christus Foundation. We had a new DJ who really played great music, and everybody was dancing before and after the race. He did great. Everybody did. Then we offered prizes for the first time. Each person finishing the race in their category, first group H, won and received it's called from a local retailer. Todd says Todd says he's forever grateful for the Rotarians that have helped plan this awesome event. It makes him extremely happy and very proud of our club, and he will hopefully be here next week. And he's already scheduled February 3rd, 2024 of our next race. So that was from the top. Now, I want to introduce y'all to our guest speaker today, Barbara Jones, who is a local historian who, along with Reginald Moore, was convinced in Sugarland soil hid a dark secret underneath a stretch of suburbia that resembles so much of the modern American landscape. She's got the control already. In February of 2019, construction crews were working for Fort Bend ISD, uncovered the remains of what proved to be an unmarked burial ground for 95 people. They are thought to be African-American prisoners, aged 14 to 70, forced into breaking work on sugar plantations in the post-Civil War system known as convict leasing that has been described as a continuation of slavery. This discovery is referred to as the Sugar Land 95. Today, Barbara is also going to share with us Freedom House Emergency Medical Service. That is Barbara being the historian, and I will just, this is not in her bio, you know, she had, I don't know how many thousands of children in the last couple of weeks go through and see her exhibit. I got to volunteer. It was an amazing exhibit, and it is hers that she has dedicated herself to educating all of us about Black history. So please let's extend a warm Sugar Land Rotary welcome to Barbara.
Good morning. I kind of feel like my shit shoe after 4 cups of coffee. So excuse me. Again, my name is Barbara Jones. I'm an employer of Fluor for the last 33 years. And I've had the young folks, when they come by, they say, you've been here for 33 years. Well, one thing good about Fluor, you don't stay in the same job. You don't stay in the same location. You see lots of parts of the world. So it's not like you're doing the exact same thing for 33 years. So I'm here to talk to you today about Sugar Land 95 and my involvement with Regina Moore, my late dear friend. And also an excerpt from my traveling museum that is now in Dallas. And last week, Superintendent, I don't know where you got those kids from. They were some of the best kids ever. You know, we were prepared for kids. We had some of our volunteers. We had Foreign Education volunteers to come down because we were prepared for kids. I don't know what you sent us. Those kids were phenomenal. They were exceptionally good. They were full of questions. They were attentive. They toured the museum like adults. They were some really good kids, and we enjoyed that partnership. So in order for me to talk about Sugar Land 95, that Jeff said I can speak freely. So can I speak freely? You know, that's what I tell my boss when I have a few things I need to talk to. I say, Taurus, yeah, I speak freely. So that way I don't have to ask for forgiveness at the end. Okay, so now that you're giving me permission to talk freely, we can't talk about Sugar Land 95 unless we go back all the way to the 1800s, right? So first we gotta talk about the emancipation in 1964. Then, but that emancipation only freed the enslaved. You know, that's the proper word to say now, is the enslaved, because slaves make it seem like they had a choice. So enslaved, so make sure if you want to be politically correct, make sure you say enslaved. You said I could speak freely. So anyway, so we have to go back to 1864 with the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation only freed the slaves in the southern states, right? Because, you know, Lincoln went into the Civil War only to make sure he can get the United States. The end of slavery just happened to be a component of it later. If you read some of this as a historian, read his papers. But so then he knew, and you know, speaking of 1864 Emancipation Proclamation, I can't leave out that we in Texas didn't find out till June 19, 1965. And there's various reasons historians say it took so long for us to find out, but nevertheless. And so President Lincoln, he knew that he needed to get an amendment, right? And so it was the 13th Amendment, said that all slaves are free, even because the emancipation only freed the slaves in the South. It didn't free the slaves in the border states or the slaves that were actually in the North. So we needed the 13th Amendment, right? So we got the 13th Amendment, But you know, any lawyers in the building, right? There are probably some lawyers, you're always looking for a loophole, right? Yeah, you're always looking for a way out. And we pay you good money to find that way out. So the 13th Amendment under one sentence, I want to make sure I got it right. Can't see a darn thing without my readers. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. Here's the loophole. Except as punishment for a crime. So here we go. Now remember, we just found out in 1865, right? And this amendment came in 1866. So here we go. We're free, right? We're free. And we stick, when you go out to a pool, you put your little pinky toes in the water. That's how far we got. We got to put our pinky toes in the water. So that's when all of the plantation owners, the former plantation owners, they got together, and especially ones here in the state of Texas, they went to Austin. The records are very clear. I just love reading the records and what happened at the state during that time. It is so clear. They went to Austin, they met with the governor, and they said, we cannot get the crops in without the colored labor. We can't do it. We can't bring the crops in. We're all gonna fail. Texas is gonna be bankrupt. That was the story. Read it for yourself. I always tell people, read the whole story for yourself. And so that little loophole, except for punishment of crime. Now, the prison records are extremely clear. They're handwritten, very legible, and you can see why folks were going to prison for 8 years for death of a chicken, walking on the wrong side of the road, saying hello to a pretty white lady, or whatever it was. And the sheriffs were getting paid $25 to go. Mary mentioned there was a 14-year-old boy here. He was 6'2". Now, some of these moms would have missing children. And some of the more modern day movies, if you watch them very closely, they'll put this information inside of movies. Being a historian, I can pick it out, and I know if they're a little off and all that. But so they would just kind of pick people off the street, and all of a sudden you would be gone. And my family is from Fayetteville and Round Top and LaGrange, and a very, one of the names was St. John Dobbins, very different name, right? So he was one of the ones who went too. He's not a Sugar Land 95, but he did serve in prison, well, whatever you want to call it, here in Sugar Land. And I always heard the stories as a kid because, as a kid, when we were little, grown folks said, get out when grown folks talking. Well, I always just kind of went around the corner. So I remember those names when I started reading and things of that nature. So that's what happened. That's how convict lease and labor started, right? Okay, so this happened from 1866 to 1910. And Superintendent, you'd be glad to know that I remember all my dates too from school. I didn't want to, I used to kind of write it in my hand sometimes, but nevertheless, they make sense now, in case you gotta it makes sense when you know the dates. It didn't make sense when I was going through all this history in school. But, so what we have here, let me tell you how I became involved with that. We were, there was a huge need for craft labor. So I called Fort Bend ISD. I went to Fort Bend ISD and I said, look, we need to stop building barbecue pits and we need to get these folks ready to go to work once they graduate high school. I went out to the old technical center and the equipment was 40 to 50 years. It was so old, they didn't know how old it was. So I called the powers to be at Fluor At that time, I only had $10,000 in my budget to buy new equipment. I said, look, we can't expect these kids to learn if we don't have the proper equipment and we don't have what it takes to make craft work sexy again. Because now they can earn, they can travel around the world, make six figures, see their work complete, et cetera, et cetera. So needless to say, we were totally involved with that. And then here comes time for the new center, the new craft center. So again, I brought some of my experts from work and we helped them to decide what the welding department and things of that needed to be and what it's going to look like real world. So we're real excited, and I even sit on the Reese Center naming committee. So we were very excited that we were going to be producing the next craft workers right here in Fort Bend ISD. And lo and behold, our next meeting, we were told a bone was found. And that we didn't know where we were going to go from there, how far we can go on to the museum. I'm sorry, the building of the Reese Center. And because we had to stop work. You know, this happens to Fleur all the time, all over the world, when we're excavating. We find bones and then you have to determine if those bones are ancient bones, is it a crime scene, et cetera, et cetera. So it proved to be, and Mr. Moore was elated. I remember talking to him, he said he just really almost passed out when they found that femur bone. And so we went there, the school invited us over there. And I gotta tell you, you know, you told me to speak freely, it's gotta be one of the most times I was the most upset. So we went there and the bodies had been uncovered. It was 94 bodies, 95 graves. One of those students got away, right? So I gotta say it was the most, because at that time, the representative for the school, she looked at me and she said, these bones gotta go. And I kept, you know what your mom would tell you, you can't say anything nice, don't say anything nice at all. But, you know, there's always a time and a place to say what you gotta say. So the activists got busy and we just were not gonna have those bones removed that kind of way, right? They were there first, we needed to know the story, we needed to know who they are, and things of that nature. So Mr. Moore and I and a whole slew of people were tirelessly headed to Austin to try to get what we needed from Austin. We said it was cemetery meetings, every meeting you could think of. And Mr. Moore would give me orders from my driveway all the way to floor, orders, my marching orders and what he needed me to do, and so many other people. And we even got the governor to sign that, because it's only, you know, certain people can own a cemetery, certain entities can own cemeteries. So we got that through that Fort Bend County can actually take ownership of that cemetery. The governor signed it. We had a meeting with both sides of the aisles present, everyone in agreement. And all of a sudden, an about face came. Well, that about face was so heartbreaking, so disturbing. And I was talking to Miriam about it. And that's when I saw Mr. Moore's health decline and even my health decline. It was so bad on the both of us that Marilyn wasn't letting Reginald take calls and my daughter wasn't allowing me to take calls. When you feel something, when you work so hard, it's amazing how you internalize it, right? And so the bones that were uncovered were in containers on the school property. And I've got to say, I saw the bones in the graves. I can still see them just as clearly now with architecture. The archaeologists were there. They, you know, removing the dirt with like little tools that kids play with at the beach, you know, very carefully removing the soil from the bones. Some of the bodies were in the graves like this, you know, kind of smooched in there, kind of deal. They were still smooched, and some of them were buried in their clothes, and most all of them were buried in their socks because their toes And the archaeologists explained why their toes were still intact. You know, things you can tell what they were buried in, not their boots, because they reused their boots. And they were either, the 94 people that were like there were either 100% African. They were either African and Caucasian or African and Mexican. Those were the makeups of the folks. All of them had blood poisoning from the shackles, either on the legs or the feet or other parts of their body. So all of them had blood poisoning. There's a great book that you can get from Chastity that even tells you what they ate. And the food was really bad. The living conditions were deplorable. The food was moldy bread, bad food that they fed them. Okay, so to go back to slavery, you know, the slave owners had to pay $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for a slave. I remember when I told you for these folks, they were getting it for $25, right? So a lot cheaper. So what happened is that they worked them until there's a book, one dies, get another, because there was only $25. And so they worked, you only lasted a very short time on these camps. And so it's really good if you get these books. I've read it from cover to cover. It's depressing because you see the food that they ate and how they were kept and what they stayed in and things of that nature. My favorite part are the ones that escaped.
How do you know that? How do you know if somebody escaped? You don't have a body for somebody escaped. How do you know?
It's the ones that are there, they did escape. There are some that have bullet shot wounds. That's how we know who they are, according to prison records. But the folks that, like my cousin that was there, you know, he's in the records, but there's also others that are there in the records and show that escaped. Very legible, very easy to read. Okay, my time. So anyway, I need to wrap up on that because I want to talk to you about the other parts. But needless to say, those bodies are there. We know who they are, only about 60 something of them, because of prison records, like I was saying with the gunshot and things of that nature, so we know who they are. We will not know exactly who they are unless we get their DNA. And their DNA is not like we take with a swab and send it off. It's a little bit more intact. I can't explain it to you because I'm not one of those experts. But they're right here behind HB if you want to go see, call Chastity up, go visit, go see the, but I tell you, if you go there and if it rains, that means you're not supposed to be there. Because Chastity tell you some stories, even when folks come with bad intentions, it'll storm. Really, it will. So, you have any questions about Sugar Land 95? I want to get to this part, and I don't want to Marvin to come pull my cocktail. So, being a historian, did you guys know the first EMTs are Black? Y'all didn't know that? Well, the very first EMTs in the entire world were Black. They were from Pittsburgh. Why not Sugar Land, Texas, right? So prior to 1967, if you were in an accident, you were just whisked away in an ambulance or a police car or a judge, somebody had to take you to a hospital, and you were seriously ill or sick, what happened to you on the way? Because there was no emergency medical service on the way prior to 1967. You likely died, right? And a lot of folks did. So whose bright idea was this anyway, you know? So Dr. Schaefer, he is the father of CPR. He is the reason why we have CPR. If you want to read more about him, you can see some of the amazing things that he would inject you with medicine so your heart muscles wouldn't work, so he can show that you can be, someone else can breathe for you. But needless to say, he's the father of CPR. And then we have Gene Starsinski and Phil Hayden and James McCoy, and then Freedom House. Freedom House was in Pittsburgh in the predominantly Black area, And initially, they were there to deliver vegetables to the poor. And then the next step was to take them to their medical appointments. So those are the folks that got together and said, look, we needed to do something. And Dr. Safer, the interesting thing about him, he said that he could teach CPR to anyone. To anyone, he didn't care who they were, what their background was, or whomever, he could teach it to anyone because his daughter passed away of asthma at 11 years old. At home, she wasn't in the hospital. She was born prematurely and she suffered from asthma. This what led his flood. So who were their first EMTs? That's a direct picture. This story has been hidden for 40 years. They were Black men from predominantly Black Hill District of Pittsburgh. And remember, Dr. Safer said he can teach it to anyone. These folks have been deemed the most unemployed folks in Pittsburgh. They were ex-cons, alcoholics, drug users, felons, undereducated, not educated, and there was even one pimp. And most of them were just needing an opportunity. And also there was the first one I said Vietnam vets. There was quite a few from Vietnam vets there too, and considered the least likely. Teach a man how to fish. My dad always said this, so I thought I'd entitle this one, Teach a man how to fish, and they would eat for a lifetime. So Safer designed a robust training program that included a year-long training program, 160 hours of classroom and hands-on instruction, 6 weeks of hospital-based training in the emergency room, operating room, intensive care unit, and defensive driving. You know, if you're driving an ambulance, you need a little defensive driving, anatomy, physiology, CPR, how to take vital signs, and they watched autopsies also. Safar's vision for modern emergency response wasn't to bring the patient to the ICU, but to bring the ICU to the patient. Great vision, right? And he, thanks to this doctor and his vision, he designed and equipped state-of-the-art ambulances with defibrillators, EKGs, IVs, and Narcan to revive overdoses. Because before then, you would sometimes be taken to the doctor in hearse, the same one that they put dead bodies in, they would take you in, however they can get you to the hospital. And successes, right? I just put some of the successes in the essence of time, but John Moon, the guy right there, he was the first to intubate in the field, the very first person in the entire world to do so. When he brought the patient to the hospital, the staff was just amazed that he actually did that in the field. Nancy Carolan, she wrote the textbook for EMS training that became the national standard. That's her at the bottom. Because, and the reason why she was called to do this, they had received a grant from United States Department of Transportation. And because they wanted to see what Freedom House was doing, they wanted to copy it all. There's a study in 1972 that 1,400 patients were transported to area hospitals by Freedom House over 2 months, found that the paramedics delivered the correct care to critical patients 89% of the time. By contrast, the study found that police and volunteer ambulance services delivered the proper care only 38 and 13% of the time, respectively. So see what I say, you probably died. In 1974, that's when we talked about Dr. Nancy Carolan. She was actually a PhD student when he recruited her to, they have been working from 1967 to this time to put everything that they've done into the standards. And cities around the globe pattern their EMS around the globe, just not the nation, but around the globe, pattern their EMS after Freedom House design. I think we talked about this. This is where they got the funding for Dr. Carolan. And the first year, the very first year, Freedom House Ambulance responded to nearly 5,800 calls and transported more than 4,600 patients, primarily African Americans. And now you say, well, Barbara, why African Americans? Because oftentimes they would show up at other calls, and because of the color of their skin, they would send them away. According to data collected by Dr. Safer, the paramedics saved over 200 lives in the first year of operation. Again, Freedom House answered calls in predominantly white neighborhoods, but face opposition, again, because it's the color of their skin. You know, I don't care who you are, you come to my house, just help me, right? And the Hill District, where the African Americans live, don't send me the police, because oftentimes there are stories in the history part where they wouldn't even take you to the hospital. Even Mr. Moon, they wouldn't even take his mother. And she later died. She had a brain aneurysm. They said, send Freedom House, don't send the police. So what happened? You know, they were a victim of their own success. White people began to complain to the mayor that the Hill District residents were receiving better medical care than them. It happened from 1967 to 1975. And the city of Pittsburgh, they were getting some of their funding from the city of Pittsburgh, some from some foundations, and just like we all collect money from everywhere. The city of Pittsburgh, who at this time was paying most of the funding, pulled their funding. And they wanted to start their own EMS. And they told Freedom House employees who had been doing this since 1967, you can reapply. And they made everything that they could do not to employ those folks. They said that you can carry the equipment and things of that nature, you can drive, but you can't be an EMS, basically. A lot of them went to other cities and started EMSs in other cities, when you read the history part of it. So that's Freedom House. You guys have any questions? What you thinking about, Jim? What are you thinking about? You just thinking? So, oh, there's one back there.
I just wanted to add, if you're interested in the Sugar Man 95 part, which is fascinating in so many ways. This is the commemoration, 5 years of when the discovery happened.
Yes.
So there will be an event this Sunday at the Reef Center where the Sugar Man 95 are resting. And it's at 4 o'clock, and it's from 4 to 5:30, and there'll be students and performances, and there'll be a tribute. They're actually going to have like a little museum in there that shows you a lot of the history of how the Stanford, what's going on in the area, and about the actual people that were there. So it's very good. Chastity.
Yes, Chastity.
Coordinating that, and it's right before a community vigil that will happen in the area. So it's not affiliated with the school district. 4 o'clock, the program is sponsored by our school district on Sunday.
And the exhibit is absolutely
The
amazing.
exhibit's fabulous. Home effect.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Thank you so much, Barbara.
I didn't
And
get a chance to pull my top tail.
you what?
I didn't get a chance to pull it. I was going too long.
Oh, no, I thought you did a great job, and we're glad that you joined us.
Oh,
This is a
thank
little
you.
something to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
And then this is two. Gives you a little 3-minute whatever.
Oh, well, nice.
Would like to just have that as a remembrance of being with us today. But thank you so much. I can't help but think the first time that I ever attended the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., although we have a very strong one here. And the whole point was that our mission in attending is to understand one thing and understand it well, and that is to say, never again. appreciate Christie and what Fort Bend ISD is doing. And Barbara, thank you for being here to share that story that's so lovingly researched and presented. And I know it means a great deal to us. And with respect to the EMS, you know, we have to appreciate those things that, and respect deeply those things that are something we want to see more of. And it's one of the reasons that we're next week going to salute in a special all program long, we're going to salute the past presidents of this club. Dating back to the founding in 1985, we've invited as many of them as we can possibly bring out. And we've got some who have decided that watching the whales out off of Maui might be more fun. But others are making it a point to attend.
How many of you?
We have about 25. Yes, it's a lunch. Well, let's correct that now. It's a luncheon, and it will be, but we're going to have, we'll have well over half of them, and some very, very notable people. But I got to tell you, if we don't salute our past presidents and respect what they did to make this club what it is today, we won't be able to enjoy the fruits of our volunteerism tomorrow. And going back to, we're honored today to have with us the first and second presidents of this club. And who would that be? Steve Harris. And who is the second president of this club? Bill Griffin, the guy who's been chairman of our speaker committee. And I can't tell you how important it is for us, from Darla all the way back to Steve Harris, who was the first president, for us to make it a point to appreciate and to respect what they did, because we've got many of you in this room who will become presidents yourself. And we want you to know that it's a very special kind of a thing, and we hope you will aspire to that position. And so with that, the final thing we're going to do today is salute our club and what we stand for as exemplified in the four-way test. And Jer Bobbis is going to lead us in that. Jer?
Please join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do as Rotarians. First, is it true? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much. You're adjourned. Lada, good to see you.
See you.
You'll help the meeting.
No, I didn't take them to the phone at all. I jump into the computer.
Oh, my cow. Good.